January, New York City's Department of Finance mailed their Notice of Property Value letters to property owners throughout the 5 boroughs. Now, many people who receive this document don't understand exactly what it is or why they're receiving it, and they often end up disregarding it.
Well, that's a no-no. Here to tell us why that isn't a good idea and just what all those numbers actually mean is Deputy Director of Property, New York City Department of Finance, Tim Sheares. And welcome, sir, to BK Live. Looking very sharp today.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Well, death and taxes, as the saying goes, that has never changed. Can you tell us what I'm not a property owner.
Okay.
So for a non-property owner, what is the Notice of Property Value and what information does this notice contain?
So the Notice of Property Value is an annual letter that we send to all property owners in the city of New York. We're responsible for valuing over 1 million parcels every year. So we send out 1 million letters notifying taxpayers of their property value. Basically it provides information about their assessed value, which ultimately is the determinant for their taxes. So for Class 1, which are 1, 2, and 3 family homes, we have about 650,000 tax Class 1 property owners in the city of New York.
That's the majority, huh? That's
the majority. So it's, let me try to explain. So for example, for a home, and I'm using this for example, just for mathematical purposes, a home that's valued at 100,000, their assessment ratio is 6%, meaning their assessment should be no greater than 6,000. For tax Class 1 property owners, it gets a little tricky in terms of understanding, but assessments are capped for tax Class 1, 2, and 3 family homeowners, meaning their assessment can increase more than 6% a year and 20% in a 5-year period. But as you know, market values have been increasing far more than that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because we're in this $100,000 house.
Right. So
for the purposes of educating,
yes,
we're going to nice round 100.
I use 100,000.
Yeah.
So we provide that information. We provide basically your market value. We provide your assessed value, and we provide what we call your target, or your effective market value.
Okay.
So the effective market value in most cases is going to be less. I mean, your effective assessed value.
Okay.
Effective market value is going to be less than your market value.
Your effective market value is a number that comes in lesser than your market value.
Yes, because it shows the ratio of your assessed value that you're being taxed on.
So what the city is walking by and saying, this property is worth $100,000.
Yes. For example, I have property here. We're saying that the market value of the property is $550,000.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So
yes.
$550 is what you could get on the open market when I say, hey, Aaron, come by my house.
That's the current market
value. Okay.
Yes, but the assessed value or the taxable value is $17,911. So your effective market value is 6%, which is the target ratio, divided. So it's the 17,900 divided by 6%. Your effective market value is then 298,000. So your effective market value is less than your market value of 500.
Math? I'm so confused.
No, it isn't. It's just because caps on assessments are there to protect property owners from great increases in market value.
Okay, now I have a question. If you believe that the description on your NOPV is incorrect, you appeal to the tax commission, and then you have to prove that what you said, your current market value is less than the effective market value listed on the NOPV form?
Yes. So there are 2 ways to, if you want to protest your assessed value. There's an informal, what we call request for review, RFR, that taxpayers can file online with the Department of Finance. That's an informal review.
Right. So it comes back to
so
your
if you
house.
if you have a descriptive issue with your property, or you believe a valuation issue with your property, the Department of Finance will address that. You have to file for tax Class 1 property owners, that's 1, 2, and 3 family, have to file by March 15th. There's a formal review with the Tax Commission, which is an independent agency from the Department of Finance. So, and they will look at your assessment and make a determination if your valuation should be reduced. So why would anyone ever contest their valuation?
So why would anyone ever contest their valuation?
Well, some believe that our market values, our assessed values are too high. Some believe that their taxes are too high. So those are the reasons why people typically will protest or protest their assessment.
Okay, so the NOPV is not a tax bill, no payment required, but it's letting you know how the state and the city are assessing the value of your property for your upcoming taxes.
Yes, it's letting you know the valuation change from year to year. So we provide the previous year's value and the current year value. So it shows the change, whether it's 6%, 8%, depending on the type of property.
Okay. Now, I have to admit that, I'm writing numbers down here. Brian has some things written down. You have confused us quite a little bit. And I'm sure we're not the only people here. So can you tell us? That's what I'm saying. I'm educated, man. Can you tell us about the workshops that you've been holding throughout the 5 boroughs to sort of walk people through this?
Yes. Yes, we have NOPV sessions throughout the 5 boroughs. We're having one here in Brooklyn on Thursday at Brooklyn Borough Hall between 10 a.m. and noon. We invite all homeowners down to the session so that they can discuss with us a myriad of issues, not only valuation issues, but we also provide exemptions, which is a reduction in taxes for homeowners, or a reduction in assessment for homeowners. So we have exemptions for seniors, we have exemptions for veterans, we even have an exemption for disabled homeowners. Okay. So if they fit the requirements for those exemptions, then we also provide exemptions for those taxpayers.
Do you find that a lot of people who come to these workshops are eligible for exemptions that they were not aware of?
I wouldn't say that. I can't say that definitively, but I would suggest that that taxpayers come, when they come to discuss their assessment, that we can discuss the number of exemption programs that we have available.
So folks might have noticed that earlier last week you did have an evening session for folks who can't make it during the day, and this time you flipped and you have a daytime session. Right. But if you still can't make that one, there are other workshops happening across the boroughs.
I believe we have another one in Dyker Heights in Brooklyn, but you can go. But we also have sessions in the other boroughs.
Why do you think some homeowners just sort of out of hand sort of just disregard the NOPV?
Because you're going to have to pay your bill no matter what. So it's like,
I just think, frankly, they don't know what it is. I mean, they see a notice from the city of New York and they disregard it. But in taxes and assessments in New York City is not simple. We review the NOPV every year to try to see how we can simplify the document so that taxpayers can understand. And one of the reasons why we emphasize that they come to the NOPV sessions, because the letter is not as simple as it can be, I guess, and we get an opportunity to talk to people and explain it in full. And I think people come away with a better understanding of the entire process at the NOPV sessions.
All right, Mr. Deputy Commissioner, what's it going to take to simplify this letter then so I can get a statement from the city and not have to devote an evening to coming to figure out how to read this thing and then pay you guys?
No, it's not only the letter. I think taxpayers just want, sometimes it's just a dispute in market value. So we can explain to them how we derive market value. I think we're a very transparent organization.
How do you derive market value? Like, give us the crash course before we come out to Borough Hall in the afternoon.
Well, we're looking at a lot of elements. I mean, from style to story height to square footage. Those are some of the elements. We look at neighborhoods. And we basically run a statistical model looking at various elements and looking at all properties, and basically the statistical model determines the value for 1, 2, and 3 family homes.
There goes the neighborhood.
Why do you say that?
No, but like with these statistical values, is there a neighborhood in the city that you see, and like where does Brooklyn rank in the sort of landscape of the properties that are shifting up and down? I can't imagine there are lots of areas that the
Brooklyn,
assessment is lower.
I think Brooklyn over the last 3 years has shown the greatest movement.
Is there a neighborhood in particular in Brooklyn that you noticed that has charted ahead of the others?
I would say neighborhoods like Bedford-Stuyvesant and Crown Heights.
Okay, so the imprint of gentrification is showing up in the tax assessments.
I
and
think,
property.
but I think it's showing up everywhere. I mean, we're beginning to see this happening in the Bronx also, even in Staten Island. Value has been increasing. Demand on housing is increasing in the city. So I think as a result, you see rising values.
Yeah. So when you're looking at, I'm sorry, I'm getting wonky now, but I'm thinking when you're looking at the algorithm of how the assessments are made and the numbers you come up with, is there one factor that outpaces others? You mentioned style and looking at just the square footage and the other things.
I think it's demand. I guess,
Demand.
yeah, but no doubt, I think the brownstone communities have
These
grown.
sort of
So that's why you see
established housing.
Crown Heights,
Yeah.
Bed-Stuy, Park Slope. Those communities have values have increased dramatically in the last 4 or 5 years and have been.
And not slowing down anytime soon. Looks like. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Mr.
thanks for
Deputy
peeling back the
Commissioner.
veil a little bit. But I'm fascinated. I want to come to this
I
thing
rent,
and just
so,
learn
yeah.
about how it is.
Well, I can come with charts and everything, but I don't know if that would make it any
Charts.
simple.
Give us a shout out one more time about the workshop and where folks can come to.
So the workshop will be on Thursday, from 10 a.m. to noon at Brooklyn Borough Hall,
Phenomenal. And you're going to be there.
and I'll be there.
In the flesh.
All right.
Yes.
Come say hi to the Deputy Commissioner out at Borough Hall. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Quite welcome.